I saw a special you did once, and you are the kind of performer. You're so intense in everything you do that it would be very difficult for anyone to follow you on stage because the audience has been really wrung out when you're finished. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that as a disparaging remark, because the same thing happens when Sammy Davis appears. I mean, the audience is spent. You know what I mean?
Buddy Hackett, I worked with a lot in Vegas, and he said this to me once. He said, "It's very difficult to follow you, because I used to open the show and Buddy, close the show."
Have you ever had any embarrassing moments on stage?
Oh, I've had quite a few embarrassing moments, but one, which I will never ever forget, was in New York at the Empire Room.
At the Waldorf Astoria?
At the Waldorf Astoria. And I wear these sexy gowns, and I had this one that was very low, and I happened to have a blue birthmark right here, on my bottom. And
it was that low, the dress?
Yes, it was that. Well, my bottom's not that low.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, but you said you have a birthmark.
Well, it's just here. Anyway, in deep blue, And I walked on stage one night, opening night, actually, and I heard whispers going around. And I caught one of them and said, "Look at that hickey," And I didn't know what to do, And at the end of the show, I went to somebody, the maitre d', and I said, "What's a hickey?"
Oh, you didn't know?
And he told me, and I passed out, because I said to myself, I went all through that show, which was like an hour and 10 minutes.
With that on your
mind?
With
that on my mind.
That's
and if
terrible.
I'd known what it really meant, it probably would have thrown me completely. So that night I thought, oh my God, this is obviously going to happen every night, So what can I say, to tell the people that it is a birthmark, and not a hickey. So
but you had never heard the expression
no,
hickey?
I've never.
What do they call
in
them
England?
in
It's called a love bite. And
I have to ask all those dumb questions that go.
So anyway, I was very restless that night, and I couldn't sleep, and then suddenly I sat bolt upright. I've got it. So I went on stage the following night, and I went right the way through the show, and I finished my last number, and I go off, and I come back on with a cape, And I went in front of the mic, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, before I leave this stage, I would like to leave you with these few remarks. It is most definitely a birthmark. Good night." And I dropped the cape and made an exit with my back to them.
And they loved it.
They went wild, because obviously they all thought it was one of those, hickeys.
You're so stylized. What you do is so very stylized. Does anyone do an imitation or impression of you?
An awful lot of drag queens do.
A lot of what?
Drag queens.
Oh yes.
But I have seen...
That I get. The same thing here in this country.
But I have seen a few English female performers, Australian female performers also.
Does that bother you when they do you?
No, except sometimes they pick on something like a movement of the face, and they exaggerate on it. And maybe nobody's noticed it. My audience has never noticed it on me. And suddenly now when they see me, they're waiting for that calm them out. Or they'll move the hands, because invariably they play on the hands, and they overdo it. And I think that is when it can be damaging for a performer, when they bring out these...
It's supposed to be a very sincere form of flattery.
That's what they say, yes, but as I say, unless they do it right, and they don't over-exaggerate on the twitch, or something like that.
I didn't notice that you had a twitch.
I don't have a twitch, I'm just saying it.
Oh, I see.
Because some performers do have twitches.
You'll develop one when I bring this next fella out, because I like your husband, who's standing over on the sidelines, to come out and take a bow, and I want the audience to... Is he backstage now? His name is Sergio Novak. Shirley's husband. Let's give him a nice round. You weren't kidding. You said my husband is 6'5½".
He's tall, isn't he?
Yes, he is. How did you two meet?
Well, about 8 years ago. No, more than that, 9. In Venice.
And what were you both
Well,
doing
actually,
there?
I was in the hotel business there. I was assistant manager at the Excelsior.
Oh,
and
yes.
She happened to come there on holiday. And so there was a kind of, let's say, platonic, sympathy affair,
Yes.
Then she disappeared for 6 years. And we tried to get in touch through common friends. And eventually, after 6 years, we met again, and this was 3.5 years ago in Milan. And that time, I said, this time I must see her, because 6 years of trying. So we met, and 3 months after, we were married.
Now, your wife says you're Italian, but Novak is not an Italian name.
Well, actually, I was born in Trieste, which is the northern part of Italy,
Yes.
by the Yugoslav border. And before the First World War, it used to be Austria, Austria, the Hungarian Austrian Empire. So the people there, they are all a mixture of Austrian, Hungarian, Czechoslovakian. So I am Italian, but the name obviously is Czechoslovakian.
Is Shirley a good cook, Sergio?
Fantastic.
Does she cook good spaghetti?
Yes, actually.
Oh, yes, that's one of my specialities.
Actually, I tried to impress her. The first time I met her, I said, no, I'll cook some Italian, because obviously she was used just to eat English cooking. So I tried my spaghetti. And I was very unfortunate because my first try was in Los Angeles, I remember, and I went out and I bought some spaghetti that were dreadful because, what makes real good spaghetti is the spaghetti quality. And the Italian have a special kind of wheat that holds cooking.
It's called semolina, right?
No, it's not semolina. No,
Oh, no, semolina?
No, it's grano duro. It's grano duro, hard.
Yeah, that's the one I
form.
was thinking of.
So what happened? That
Irish call it semolina, yes.
I got this American brand.
You got it.
I got this American brand of spaghetti. I came home. I start working like a lunatic. I cook this spaghetti. I taste them every second, so that they keep al dente. Then I take them out, and they were al dente when I took them out. Then I put them in the dish, put the sauce on. They was like glue. Terrible. So you can imagine her. He says, what? That's what you can make? I said, forget it.
I said, you never make it again. From now on, I will make the spaghetti. And he didn't believe that I could make spaghetti. And when he tasted, he was very wrong and most surprised.
You still got the tendency to go
a
little bit over, yes, make them a little bit.
Yes.
I have always to watch her,
But the sauce is great. The sauce is great.
The sauce is great.
How do you keep it from sticking together?
That you have to put.
A little oil.
Is it cold water?
One,
a little oil.
No.
That's right.
Oil, a spoon of oil
in the water.
In the water when it boils. Okay. But the trick is when you take them out,
you
pour some cold water.
Cold water over.
Yes, because otherwise, by the time you take it from the stove to put it into the we call it a colander, the one with all the holes in.
Yes, yes.
By the time you take it from the stove to the sink to put it in, it's still cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you put the cold water in, you stop it.
Stop the cooking. I see.
Away. Yes.
Does Shirley have any bad habits that bother you, Sergio?
Bad
habits. Besides cooking mushy spaghetti, I mean,
Well.
Yes, I'm because of being in show. I think this is true. Being as I've been in show business all these years, I'm a night person. See, and Sergio's a day person. So it takes me longer to sleep at night than he does. And it infuriates me because his head just touches the pillow and he's gone. And I said, and I want to read maybe, and the light bothers him because he can't bear light on in the room. So if he keeps on long enough and saying, turn that light off, turn that, then I go into the other room and I read, I finish the book, And I think that's one of the habits. One of many habits.
You got over it anyway. You were much worse at the beginning.
What do you mean?
No, much worse, meaning, keeping on with reading and all that.
Yes, no.
Then I said, listen, look, at night, night is meant to sleep, so let's have the 10 minutes, 15 minutes reading, okay?
Not always just for sleeping, darling.
I don't go